So what's the story behind this $400, very rare translucent Bionicle G2 mask? And if you had it, how could you use it in your own LEGO creations? Well, I'm glad you asked. In this video, we're gonna answer both of those questions. So let's dive in. So this is the Skull Scorpio mask, but it's not the one that came in the set Skull Scorpio. No, that one was silver. This one is a beautiful trans neon green color. Oh, it's very pretty, isn't it? This mask comes inside this lovely little blister pack container. And something I never knew about this packaging, if you take out the little paper sleeve that's on the inside there and you open it up, there's this beautiful piece of art, and I guess if you want, you can even put the mask up top. It's very beautiful. But now, if you wanted this whole thing, you needed to attend San Diego Comic-Con in 2015, where this was just given away. Yeah, it was totally free. Yeah, LEGO has a bit of a history of giving away exclusive pieces at Comic-Con events. Whether it's sets or minifigures, well, especially the minifigures. Yeah, for example, some of the Marvel superhero minifigures that come in very similar packaging. Some of those things are the most expensive LEGO pieces in the world. Yeah, once again, these are given out at the convention. Yeah, some are just handed out, others you had to like join a line and then scan your ticket, and then some tickets scanned a winner, some did not. From what I understand, the actual like kind of ticketing system or the way that they were distributed, it kind of changed every year. But anyway, these superhero minifigures, they go for crazy, crazy prices. Do you want the only X-Men Phoenix minifigure that LEGO has ever produced? Well, the current value for this is close to 1,572 Australian dollars. That comes to about 1,301 US dollars. I'm basing that off of the value of ones that have actually sold in the past 6 months on bricklink.com. But the most ridiculous Comic-Con figure of all time, well, that's the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. You want this? Be prepared to pay $16,000 minimum. Now, none of these have actually sold in the past 6 months. I've seen some sell for like 10 grand in the past. But yeah, $16,000, that's the cheapest one right now that's on Bricklink. Yeah, $16,000 is apparently cheap. Apparently. That's a ridiculous price for that figure, man. So yeah, Comic-Con exclusives like the Skull Scorpio mask that we're talking about, collectors want them, they just look freaking cool, and they fetch very, very high prices. So what's the price for this mask, you ask? Well, thankfully it's a little bit cheaper than those superhero minifigures. A little. Right now on Bricklink, there's 9 of them for sale. The cheapest one, it's about 291 Australian dollars, which is roughly 150 US dollars. Still a lot of money. But if you read the description on this one here, it says that the blister pack isn't in the best condition. So if you want to buy one that's a little bit more like mint in box and is in like really good condition, that's closer to 400 Australian dollars, which is like 260 USD. Yeah, one little ding on the plastic on the container and it knocks you off like half the price. That's crazy, isn't it? Also, look at this dude. He wants $1,300 for this mask. He's clearly asking way too much for this. Very different price compared to the others. But still, it's expensive, very expensive. But that's unfortunately the LEGO aftermarket for rare stuff like this these days. So here's this mask next to the silver version. Honestly, this is a really, really cool mask design, no matter the color. Yeah, I am surprised though that LEGO gave us this mask in a different color. Yeah, after all, this mask comes on 2 different henchman style villain sets. Yeah, Skull Basher, then also on Skull Scorpio. Also, the fact that this mask is called Skull Scorpio mask, well, why wasn't it called Skull Basher mask? Where's my respect for Skull Basher? He was a great set. Arguably, I'd say he's a better set than Skull Scorpio. But yeah, these dudes, they aren't even the main villains of this wave. Coulter was the main villain of this wave. I'm surprised we didn't get his mask in this trans neon green color. Wouldn't that make a little bit more sense? Or, I don't know, maybe we could have gotten this Mask of Creation in another color. That was like the iconic signature mask for this whole wave of G2. That just feels like a slightly more fitting choice. But not that there was anything wrong with this decision, I suppose. I was just really surprised by this choice. Yeah, but I kind of love it too, giving a little bit of love to the little guy. That's always nice. Also, if you're curious, here's what the mask looks like when it's on Skull Basher. This image was taken by Lewis Hammond, by the way. I'll have a link in the description. But yeah, it actually fits the color scheme very, very well. Yeah, maybe that's why they made this mask, hey, so it ties in with the set. I guess that makes sense. Now, I have heard tell that there are only 1,500 copies of this mask in the entire world. Is that true? Hard to say. You hear people shout out numbers for these Comic-Con exclusive items saying this is how many exist, but I don't know where these numbers come from. Still, 1,500 in total, that seems somewhat reasonable. That seems like a number that LEGO could have sent out to Comic-Con to then distribute at this event. I guess in that sense it checks out, but who knows. Plus, from my understanding, I believe that a lot of these exclusive items, they do make a few extra, and those are given out to employees or like people within the LEGO group or people who helped out. I don't think that's always the case. Honestly, I don't know, that's not public information, but I have seen similar things like that in my time in the LEGO community. Plus, I think some of these masks were also given out as prizes during a LEGO competition that LEGO themselves ran, so I'm sure there is more than 1,500 copies of this. But maybe only 1,500 were actually given away at Comic-Con. Others could exist through other means. Alright, so that's the story behind this mask. Now let's see how we can use this beautiful piece in our own LEGO creations. Dylan Meaves has made a fantastic revamp of Skull Scorpio, and he's given it this exclusive mask. I love how in one image here we can see it with a similar colour scheme to the actual set. But when the mask is then put on, the legs and the body, it all becomes translucent. It's cool, it's like the mask has infected it with poison, or it grants them some kind of elemental power. That's a really fun change. It's actually quite nice to see this set getting a bit of a makeover. Yeah, more so than just the mask, you know, the removal of the trans orange from the colour scheme, like we saw on the original set. I think that really tidies up this mock version of the character. Just silver and trans neon green, there's something very stylish about that. Yeah, this is beautiful. Draconis has built a mock called Venator the Skull Crusher. Now I love how this mask has been used alongside a lot of other trans neon green pieces, especially these claw pieces that we see here around the mouth of this mock. So these blade pieces appeared in a Ninjago set much like this one here. The different weapons that the ninjas had in this wave of sets, well, they were all trans neon green. And each set came with a pretty nice array of weapons in different shapes and sizes. So yeah, it kind of is the perfect piece to pair with this beautiful mask. Plus, I love the cool bull horns on this character, as well as this large menacing appearance that they have. This looks great, and this mask pairs very beautifully with everything that's going on here. Now, the final mock today that uses this mask was built by Lewis Hammond, and it's called Bittle, Vermin of the Swamps. You know, I never would have pictured this mask working so well for a bee or a bug-like design. But man, it works really, really well. It's cool because the gaps in the mask, they start to look a little bit more like bee stripes. And then merging that mask with antenna, bee wings, a stinger on the back, a lot of spikes, it's a winning combination. And also, trans neon green and reddish brown. That is a very unexpected but very, very welcome color scheme. How good does that look? You know, this might just be my favorite use of this mask that I've ever seen. Everything here is so clean, so clever, it all looks so good. So there you have it. Lots of ways to use this mask in your own mocks, and a little bit of history behind it as well. I hope you enjoyed another rare parts video. If you have suggestions for other rare parts that you'd love to see on this show, let me know. Provided I have it in my collection, I'll happily do a video about it. Oh, and also, major shout out to my dad, who bought this mask for me as a little early birthday present. I very much appreciate that. Thanks, Dad. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check the links in the description below to see more from the builders that I featured in this episode. Otherwise, that's it. Happy building, and bye for now.